Hey everybody, it's Jenny, and I am back today to share how I planned as I went this week in my Plum Paper Planner, which is the same size as a classic Happy Planner. I'm going to do a load of stamping this week, and I'm sharing with you some of the stamps that I'm going to use. Actually, all of the stamps that I'm going to use if you want to know the truth. And that is a look at all of them. I will not actually end up using all of the stamp sets, but I will flip through them, see how they're going, that kind of thing. Now, I am inspired this week by a layout that April Orr did. She is Mom Run Craft on Instagram. She has been a favorite inspiration of mine for a long time, and I was really inspired by a rainbow stamping week she had done recently, so that's what I am doing. I am going to stamp this same summer stamp in a sort of a wave pattern. I mean, forgive me, it's not exactly perfect throughout the week. And then I will also use another different summer stamp. You can see it down there on the left-hand side of the screen to fill in the blank spots where there are not any of these bigger summer stamps. I love the variety and I love how it changes things up, but we'll have to get to that for a minute. If you are new to stamping and you are not already a little bit familiar anyway, you can go back. I have some really super basic stamping videos. They are several years old, but the information is all exactly the same. And I break it down like as step by step as I possibly can. But let me tell you this, you need three things. You need a clear block, you need some ink, and you need the stamps. You stick the smooth side of the stamp to the stamp block, dip it in the ink, 2 or 3 times, nothing crazy, and then apply even firm pressure to the stamp onto your paper. Now, I do highly suggest practicing on some scratch paper before you stamp in something that is really meaningful to you, and also know that people make mistakes. This isn't something that is foolproof. There is human error. There is occasionally a problem with the stamps. That doesn't happen very often, although this week this does happen to me again, and it's been, years before this year that I've had that happen, but I've had it twice now this year from 2 different manufacturers, and so it's kind of interesting how that kind of happened. You're going to see it here just in a second. So I'm inking up this July stamp, and if you look around the L, you can see that there is some excess ink. It's a little bit higher than normal, and it doesn't happen on the yellow ink because it's a different type of ink pad, so it's not as squishy, so I'm not getting too much ink on it. Really, it's a combination of the stamp being just a little bit, there's an extra little bit of the photopolymer, and then I'm also squishing it down into the ink more. But it doesn't happen on the yellow one because it's a different type of ink pad. Anyway, that is rare. It doesn't happen very often. So the problem is not usually with the stamps, it's usually with the stamper. And again, that's totally normal. Like I just got done telling you, I added probably too much ink, got a little vigorous with the dye inks, and then with a slight deformation in the stamp, it kind of got all messed up. So anyway, so I am just sort of using this as a puzzle. I'm fitting little stamps in where they fit in the white spaces, in and amongst the big stamps that I did first. I did the big stamps first because that's where I wanted to make sure that the important big ones that I really wanted to include would go. And then now I'm just sort of working around it. And I don't want it to be completely even. I want it to be a little mishmash and all of that. You can also clean your stamps in a few different ways, and we'll talk about that in a minute because I'm sure you have questions about that if you are not familiar with stamping. I'm going to use highlighter and pen this week. The only stickers I'm going to use are going to be a few icon stickers here at the beginning of the week as I'm doing my pre-planning, but I am going to simply put down the highlighter and then put down my pen directly on the page and not use any box stickers or anything like that for my planning this week. I will also be using a lot of the Zig Clean Color dot markers as my icons as well, though I will be using icon stickers. But I'm just kind of trying to break that up a little bit by just using the dots, because I really, really, really want the focus to be on not only the colors of the ink, but also on the stamps themselves. So that's why I went super minimal on the stickers this week. Now I have a little bit of extra time right now to talk about the cleaning of stamps. So if you're new to stamping, again, if you already are familiar with this, forgive me, because I know this can be a little bit, you already know this, but if you're new to stamping, I use baby wipes, alcohol-free baby wipes. I've tried several of the other things on the market, and this is just what works best for me. Everybody has their own preference. You can buy specific stamp cleaning chamois from companies like Lawn Fawn, and you get them a little bit wet, you just clean them off. You can actually honestly use a chamois from that you use to dry your car as well, get it a little bit wet with a spray bottle and clean that off. I prefer the alcohol-free baby wipes. They are the least messy for me, they're the easiest to use, and they work the best for me personally and my personality in crafting. But again, everybody has to do what works best for them, and there is a variety of ways. You can also just stamp the excess ink off on a piece of scratch paper until there's no more ink coming off of it. You can also get like a bowl of room temperature water and put one drop of dishwashing soap, and then get another bowl of room temperature water. Wash your stamp in the one with the soap, rinse your stamp in the one with no soap, and then let it air dry. That will work as well. So again, it really just depends on what you want to do. That last method, sort of the bath method, is great if your stamps are also losing their stickiness. So if they're not sticking to the block as well, you just have oils from your hands on there, and that's totally normal. You can give them the little bath in the bowls, and it will help them get back that original stickiness, a la get the oils off of the stamps from your hands. So now we're finished. That's my pre-planning right there. I love it. I think it's turned out exactly how I hoped that it would. And now I can go back and write the things in there in the spaces that pop up throughout the week, and then the other things that I want to notate. If you have been here a minute, you know that I use this planner as sort of a memory planner. I do it as I go, and as opposed to just pre-planning all the things and then checking things off. This is more of so I'm able to look back at one planner throughout the year and all of the things that happened. Sometimes there's not that much that's going on, and so there's plenty of room to write things like home run derby, like I am right here, mixing up the typefaces. And really it's not typefaces because I'm writing both of them, so they're not fonts from the computer, but you get the styles of writing. So that is where this planner is. And so then in the white spaces, I do like to add decor. This is really just meant to be super fun, super creative, and not 100% functional like a normal week-to-week planner is. So it's a little bit, it's a cross between a memory planner like with photos, except for I don't use photos in this one, and my totally functional planner. Again, this doesn't work for everyone, and it's not something that everyone wants to do, but for me, because I like to try new planners all of the time, this allows me to, at the end of the year, have one planner that will sit on my shelf. Now, I am also figuring out, again, like we did at the very beginning, what stamps fit where. What white space do I have? Which of these little images or phrases will fit in those white spaces? Because they're not all the same, obviously, and so some are better placed in different spots. So for example, maybe at the bottom I have summer stories, it's super cute, but right next to it I don't want to do more words, so I put a sun icon next to it. And maybe I already had that sun icon in the tag, so I don't want to use that one again. I want to use something different. So it's really just about balance, like, okay, what do I already have? What do I still want to include? And what will fit? Now again, having a little bit of white space isn't a problem. I just like to get the bulk of it filled up with something beautiful and decorative because that's what I like to do. It's not necessary. You don't have to do that. And this is not my functional planner. And this week I am not alternating between writing directly on the page and writing in the boxes, since I'm keeping it pretty minimal since I'm doing so much stamping. I really wanted the focus to be there. Now again, I am using a few icon stickers, not all of them, not as many as I normally would. Again, that has so much to do with there's already a lot going on in this page with all of the stamping and the small icons that I'm using, like the little sunshines or the popsicles or those types of things. So I don't want to go too crazy in the plans because I'm going kind of crazy in the stamping. Now I'm using several different brands. I'm using both Cocoa Daisy and Feed Your Craft, Kelly stamps, and then there's also some Studio Calico stamps included that I used this week. And really there's not one that I prefer over the other. They all have really adorable designs and I like them a lot. And actually you can see right there I have an Everyday Explorer stamp set as well, and I didn't end up using that one because we didn't really have a whole lot of pool time this week, and so it didn't get used like I thought that it might. Had this been a pool heavy week, for sure you would have seen me using that one. Now I am using a mix of inks from the Stamp Market, and then I am using one Versa color, which is the yellow, and then I am using one Distress Oxide ink this week, and that's the purple. This is because these are the colors that I wanted to use. So the yellow, I wanted this true lemon yellow, sunshine yellow color, and that color that I have is a VersaFine Clair, or Versacolor. I don't even know what they call these. VersaFine Clair, I guess. And I love these so much, but they don't come in a huge variety of colors. So that's where my Stamp Market inks come in. They do come in a wide variety of colors, so I'm able to interchange those. And then the Distress Oxide, I just really love this color of purple. And so I have not purchased, I do have one VersaFine Clair purple, but I don't love that color as much as I love the Distress Oxide, so that's why I chose that one. But otherwise I'm sticking to the Stamp Market inks, which are a dye ink, and dye inks dye the fibers of your paper, and then pigment ink, which is really what the Distress Oxides are. I mean, you know, we could go into the specifics of it, but are a pigment ink, and what a pigment ink does is it sits on top of the paper, and so it takes a little bit longer to dry. I mean, it's nothing crazy, but it just does take a little bit longer to dry, and so you will notice that can smear if you're not careful, but you don't typically have any bleed through with pigment ink because of that. Again, there are a wide variety of ink, and Distress Oxide falls in that wide variety, and that are pigment inks technically, but have some other properties as well. I am just loving how this is all coming together and how from top to bottom I'm filling in those white spaces with these stamps. And it doesn't hurt that they are summer stamps, which is my favorite, and then a rainbow week. I mean, come on, it all comes together so beautifully. So look at that. We have the first half of the week complete, and now I can get to work on the right hand side. And the green highlighter or mild liner is not the same as the ink pad. They're two different shades of green, and I don't mind that. I know that some other people who prefer to be a little bit more specific, that might bother them. It doesn't bother me at all. I kind of like it because then it is a little bit more varied and just makes the page a little bit more interesting to me. Now this is the Happy Planner sticker book that I created. I finally did a walkthrough video of that one, and I put that up so you can check that one out. And I am using a little book icon to keep track of the book that I finished this week. And I have not been doing this at all, ever, And I kind of wish that I had been, because I keep track of it on my Instagram channel, but I think it'd be a cool thing to take note of in my planner as well. So I kind of wish that I'd been doing that, but I haven't. So there's that. But I think it's a fun thing. Now, these are the baby wipes that I use. I use these Huggies by Baby Wipes. I like how wet they are, and I like that they're a little bit textured. I also don't get too much lint on them, or, that comes off the baby wipes. Every brand is different. You have to find one that you prefer. This is just the one that I like because of the wetness, the texture, and that there is not that much lint on the stamps after you use them. Now you can see I did use a new stamp up at the top, that Relax stamp. I haven't used that one yet, and I do like how the rectangle goes right next to that circle for the sun too. Now you can see the blue is the same as the green. I didn't use the same shade. I could have, because I actually do have a blue mild liner that's very similar in color to that ink, but I just chose not to because I like the way, like I said already, that there is sort of a variety. And the right hand side is very much that way, as opposed to the left hand side. The orange and the yellow are very close to the ink colors. I like to take the pages out when I stamp. I could absolutely on the right hand side stamp inside the book, but I choose not to because the hard flat surface is so much better for stamping. I get so much of a better impression, and any mistakes that I make are 100% on me, and I can't blame them on the surface of the planner. So taking them out just really makes so much more sense, and that's definitely one of the huge benefits to a disc bound planner, is being able to remove those pages. Even if you are a master, there could be something behind it, or a sticker or something like that, and it just gives a little bit of an uneven surface. I couldn't resist. The waves had to go in the planner, even though there was no swimming involved on Friday, even though I wish there was a little swimming involved on Friday, but there wasn't. And so I just couldn't resist it any longer. I had to use the waves. They're so cute. I always love it when I get to Saturday and Sunday, not only in the days of the week, but in the planner as well. I get kind of that same weekend feeling, like things feel a little bit more free. I can have a little bit more fun, and I also know the week is coming to an end. By this time in the week, I'm usually kind of finished working on a week in my planner, and so I'm always looking forward to being finished and moving on, and then starting a new week. So, but let me be clear, I do love seeing how they come together. So that's why I don't lose steam usually, because I want to see the finished product. Now you can see this is the distress ink that I was telling you about, the purple. I just really, really like this color. I think it's super pretty and it looks great on the paper. And so that's why I was wanting to use this one versus the VersaFine Clair. Now I'm going to finish up over here on the far right, which is Sunday, just adding my last few plans and then stamping as well. And then that will be it for me. Thanks so much for stopping by and watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I will do my best to get back to you. Thanks so much, and make it a great day.